What's up, guys? I'm Chelsea Hernandez, music editor at Swagger RS, and you're now tuned into my podcast, Time Out, where I have conversations with music related subjects about their workings in music.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Chelsea, and I am here with Lovell Adams-Gray. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. So you play Dru in Power Book 2 Ghost. How has that been?
It's been fantastic. We had a good family, a great cast that just loves the show. We get along really well. We have good chemistry, I feel. And it's been nothing but a beautiful experience.
That's awesome. How was it auditioning for that? Like, what was that whole process like? And what about the, Power series made you want to go into that and be a part of that?
I think going back to your first question about the audition, I think what made it so special was that I was coming off of an audition that felt I was cheated out of something. It felt like I expected to go into the room and work with a director that, was very engaging and exciting and loved acting. When I got into the room, it felt very businessy. And then when I went into this audition for Power, it was everything I wanted. It was a very fulfilling experience. It was, I got to work with Anthony Hemingway, and he was just, let's play with the scenes, do it a different way. Let's engage. And I feel like, as an actor, you want to, if you're going to take your time to go into a room and audition and fly from one country to another to audition for something, that's what you want to experience. You want to experience, if you're going to be in the room, you want your time to be, made use of. And I feel like sometimes when you go into the room, I mean, it's COVID now, so it's a little different, but it's, you walk in, do your thing, and okay, good to see you, thanks for coming in. And then, 45-minute, hour drive back to your house. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like with this one, it was, I left that audition being like, oh, I can, I feel fulfilled. I've done some work today and I can go be proud of. I can go sit down, play some video games, scratch my butt, and feel really happy. So getting that call and saying that you're, welcome to the Power series was like, I already know it's gonna be special because of how we worked together in the audition.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure it's really nice to feel that sort of sense of creative expression when you go into an audition. I'm not really familiar with acting. I don't have experience in that, but I'm sure that opportunity was very just like with any interview, you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel like, oh, I want to work here too.
That's right.
Not just, oh, they want me, but I want them sort of situation. Mm-hmm. So that's good. What would you say there are any similarities between you and your character?
Definitely. Dru and I both know how to keep our mouths shut. We know how to, stick to the work and make the work and, and separate that from our personal lives. We know how to compartmentalize. And I not to toot my own horn or anything, but I think that I'm very intelligent, and I think that Dru's very intelligent, Mm-hmm. I think that we share that, and that's my way in with Dru, is through the intellectual side.
Yeah. Are there any hard parts about playing him? Because he is, a part of a drug cartel, and I'm sure you're not, I would hope you're not a part of that in real life. So
I'll shut, so you're not even going to find out if I was or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
I think the hardest part of playing Dru is, finding the sweet spot between that dichotomy of, separating work and love life. And so, I think perfectly expressing Dru's emotional life and, what he's feeling and what he's going through and the loss of his ability to create in the way he used to before, and having to choose between that's tough emotionally. It's really tough to, have to go there and, because, for me personally, I'm not a visual artist, but my art is through my storytelling. right? My art is through my craft. And so to be told that in whatever capacity, I can't do that anymore, it's like, that's devastating. So to have to step in with that with Dru, when he gets shot, and having to deal with that injury and maybe potentially not being able to draw as adept as he once was, is very scary to think about, to have to tap into, and is very, very scary place for Dru to go to. It starts to build resentment. It makes him have to go to a darker place, makes him have to choose, make grown man decisions. And I think, like, that's probably been the darkest and hardest thing I had to step into with Dru.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that it's scary to put yourself in that situation and imagine not being able to do something that you love doing. So that's interesting. When did you guys wrap filming for season 2? I know it's coming out next month. So
we finished season 2 in August, late August.
Okay.
And I've been home ever since. I'm back in Toronto.
Oh, nice. Okay. So all right. So what can we expect from season 2, without giving away, I guess, too many spoilers, since there's not a lot of time that we have to wait to watch it? But.
Well, like I said, I stand by this, and I think, like, everyone else in the cast can attest to this as well as the fans. But I think that, like, everyone, expect a lot of powerful work in this season from everyone. Expect a lot of crazy twists and turns, really well written episodes and character arcs, and expect it to go deep and also be a fun ride at the same time. We get to see, characters fleshed out in different lights, and without giving too much away, I think, like, it's a deeper dive from season 1.
Okay. So we get to know the characters a bit more.
Yeah.
We get an introspective look at who each character is. Okay. What's it like working? So you play Mary J. Blige's character's son. What's it like working with her?
We family now.
Yeah.
Actually, like, it's been such a great time getting to work with her and talk to her and connect with her. All of us, we've gotten deep in our bonds a little bit more, and just talk about, beautiful things, and, trivial things and fun things, and, get to bond over, like, what shows we like and stuff. She put me onto some amazing shows. Like, some of the shows, like, I like, thrillers and, like, shows with, like, big twists and, psychological things. And, she put me onto this one show that was like, all right, I'll watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, oh.
So what do you watch? What kind of stuff do you like to?
So, like, I think that one of the biggest examples of a film or a show that got me in a way that I didn't expect was, like, in recent times, was like Sharp Objects, for example, with Amy Adams and Chris Messina. And it was a great show. I watched it because I was getting more into Amy Adams' work, and I wanted to see, what she brought to this show. And I thought it was phenomenal. I thought the way the show was directed was phenomenal. I thought the cinematography, everything about the show was phenomenal. I hyped this show. And I think I just came off of watching True Detective, and, seeing things that I didn't expect from season 1. And so I was, like, on a high from that. And so when I watched Sharp Objects, it was like this. I started watching it on the plane, and then I got home and watched the rest, and then I finished it on the plane again. And when I finished the episode, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's the story. I'm satisfied with the story. It was huge. It was great. It was beautiful. Then I got on Google, and they were like, did you see after the credits? And da-da-da-da. I was like, what? So I went back, put it on, watched the after credit scene, and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I knew. And it really like took me for a loop. And so, I love shows like that. And so Mary told me to watch Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. And I think it's a show based in Ireland. And it's, when you first watch it, it's only 6 episodes, which again, right up my wheelhouse. Like, if you're gonna have an hour-long episode, you minimum 10 or maximum 10. You know what I mean? Going to the whole 25. You're like, you want to do that? 10 is max. So I was like, good. I could just sit down, watch it while I'm eating my food, call it a day. And I watched this show, and I told my fiance about the show. I'm like, you gotta watch it. You're not gonna expect anything. And I'm like, all you gotta do, I'm gonna tell you, is what Mary told me. Pay attention. That's it. And I was blown away.
Nice. I have to watch that. I don't know if I've seen that on Netflix, but I'm definitely gonna look into it. I love thrillers and like psychological thrillers and things that keep you on your toes and require you to like think and pay attention. So that sounds like a really good series. And I did start watching Sharp Objects, but I don't think I've made it past the first episode. I'm ashamed.
It's not for, I hear that. It's not for everyone, especially like for me, I was like, it's a show based in like Missouri. And I don't think there's a single Black person in the show. And when that is that what I get off rip, I go, I don't need to watch it right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's my first feeling. But like, for me, the Amy Adams was a draw, so I watched it. That's what carried me through past the first episode. And it's a murder mystery, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I wanted to know who did it. But if you can pick it up again and make it past first episode and continue on, it's a really good journey. And I guarantee you won't expect like what the mystery is or whatever. You won't expect it. Because I didn't. My fiance saw it coming because I talked about it too much.
Oh, so you spoiled it for her.
I didn't spoil it, but I was like, I'm gonna get it. And it was like, oh yeah, keep watching. And when she finished it, she was like, you spoke too much about it. And I was like, well, now I learned from that, like, just watch the show. Like,
all right. I will try to pick it up again and see if I can get into it. With your love of like thrillers and things like that, do you think you would ever act in like a thriller, like psychological thriller, or like possibly
absolutely
even a horror movie?
But to me, it has to have the quality of like Seven. You know what I'm saying? Like something like where it's like, or it's like Shutter Island, where it's like the twist is really something we don't see coming, or that if you do see it coming, it takes you in an interesting way that like you didn't see it coming in that way, or you didn't see it coming in a way you thought. Because I'm really good at like predicting the ending of things, or like being like, okay, this is this archetype, so we're gonna go this way with it. So what's that new take on that archetype where it really makes it interesting and enjoyable, especially for myself, because like if I'm gonna be a part of something, I want it to be impactful and innovative and different. I want to contribute to the same things, the same narratives we've seen before, especially because I think as artists and as storytellers, we have a responsibility to change and to dictate what goes on in the world in a way. Yeah. So like, for example, like growing up watching Juice and New Jack City and Boys in the Hood and you name it, you know what I mean? It was a way to, those stories growing up and not getting the lesson, you can feel like, oh, I want to be in the hood and I want to be this and I want to do that and I want to do this. And then you get older and you see the message, and you go, oh, this is what not to do. Oh, these are the things that lead us to our destruction. These are the things that, so getting older and now being in a position to make films, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that we can contribute to the narrative in this way, Yeah.
So you also write, and you produce as well, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So would you ever consider writing something like that? Like writing a...
I've written it that I feel like, you know, can be a part of the conversation of like something different. And we can do something different. So I'm in the process of getting that made. You know, I'm shopping it around, and I want it to be in the right hands. I don't want it to just be made and just made. Me and my brothers, we have a production company together, and we've created our own things, our own shorts, our own plays, and we'd be producing this film as well. I wrote one short that we shot that I really enjoyed, the storytelling aspect of it, but I think the actual shooting, because we didn't have much of a budget, and you know, we finished it, and I was like, I don't want that coming out. I was like, I don't want that coming out. It needs to be like, you know, like visual quality. I want it to be in the vein of like, you know, you name your favorite movie, like just the aesthetics of it. I wanted to be something that was, you know, you could be proud of. And we still, to this day, we shot that in 2016. To this day, I was like, I don't know if we color correct it and just finish it and put it out, or if we just, you know, let it, you know, reshoot it, or let this narrative grow into something different, or whatever have you, you know. But we all got busy, so it's a blessing in the same time, because we started this production company as actors, being like, we're going to create our own work because no one's making it for us. And then we all got busy working, and it was like, oh, well, I guess you can't be mad at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Awesome. So what made you, well, I guess you kind of already answered it. When did you like start the production company?
We started a production company in like 2015, I think. 2015. Yeah. We started to get in 2015 as a way to just like, you know, like I said, create our own work. And then at the time, it was Alton Sterling who we'd witnessed be murdered. And that story triggered all of us to like, you know, do more in the sense of our work, because we're like, you know, especially I would assume that a lot of Black actors feel this way when, you know, you're doing your thing, you're acting, you're enjoying the grind, enjoying the process, you're making money, you're doing whatever to help. In your mind, you want to help, you want to assist, you want to, you know, give back, you want to do something. And then a story like that comes out where you're like, I ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that sometimes. And so we're like, how can we contribute in a way that makes a difference, and that makes it, you know, makes things better for the Black experience and for the human experience. And so we started writing, boom, 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 boom. We all like put stories and pitched, and, you know, put it in a hat and decided which one we're gonna, you know, go for. And it was the film that I wrote, The Old Proverb. And we kind of went from there. We decided to like be a like legitimate production company from there. Because at first we was just like, let's get together and, you know, keep each other honest, and, you know, steel sharpens steel kind of vibe, you know, and just like get together and, you know, write things and do monologues and just practice, you know, in a community of actors. And it just grew from there.
Nice. So the old proverb that you are talking about, is that's not what you're shopping around right now, right?
No, that's what I'm shopping around now is story. I still got to work. Like this story is called All for Nothing, and it's about to be in its fourth draft. And yeah, I really like the story. I think when I wrote it, I was in a different place. So now I got to a point where I'm like, okay, like I can let it go a little bit more, and not be so precious with the story. Because again, I'm an actor first and foremost. So I don't want to do anything else really. You know what I mean? Like directing, or maybe like I'll produce something, but like I don't really want to like even writing. Like I enjoy writing, and I enjoy creating things like that for me. Like poetry, music, whatever have you. Like it's for me. And so writing a script and like being like, hey, I wrote a script over the pandemic, or I finished the script over the pandemic because I started writing before that. Let's get this in people's hands. and then getting a story editor on board and being like, oh no, you gotta fix this, you gotta, restructure this, you gotta do this. I'm like, restructure, learn how to format a script, learn how to, what are you talking about? I act. Like that, I don't want to do it. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, it's a like, can I just give this to a writer and just take care of that? Because I don't even want to, at this point, I'm just like, I just want to, primarily, I want to be the lead of the film. So in whatever capacity it needs to be made at the highest quality and the highest thing it can be made at, and, make sure the story is all locked in and good. If that means that I got to not write it anymore, I'm very, very much so happy to not write the shit anymore. Like, we're working on draft 4 now, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I thought it was done by draft 1. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I wrote a script. Ain't nobody doing this. Like, yeah, right.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I understand because it's your baby and you're like, oh, I'm so proud of this. There's nothing that needs to be done now. Like, it's perfect. And then another set of eyes is like, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah. Fix this. No damn sense. I'm like, it don't make no sense. Don't you see it? It's like, no, I don't.
Nice. So can you like tell us a little bit about what it's about? I don't want to, because I know you're like still working on it. So
it's about a gangster who doesn't want to be a gangster no more. It's about a black man in Toronto, who is an enforcer for the mob, and he experiences things like love, like, well, I could just tell you this. It's about a man who is in one of the most violent professions you can possibly imagine, and is trained in this way, and then is introduced to a way of being that forces him to look at that way of living and heal from that place. And then now, with a healed perspective, can you still do what you've been doing? So I started off writing the script, with this one question, which is, what does it look like when a gangster meditates? And it's kind of like going from there.
Nice. It sounds interesting so far. I'm hoping that it comes to fruition and it, and we get to see it at some point. But it does sound really like intriguing. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Because I was like, what really does it look like when a gangster meditates? This is like, I want this dude to be hard. You know what I mean? Like the kind of way, like, I can't imagine a 50 Cent meditating. He probably does, but what does it look like? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what does it look like? Like, is he sitting in the lotus pose and actually doing that, or is he like laid back in my bed? Like, what does it really look like to see a black man who had to harden himself and then introduce this way that is naturally softening, releasing, letting go, relaxing, and then can you still? It's almost like, in writing they have this like term for the come to Jesus moment. Mm-hmm. Everything is like being shown to you, and like you're forced to change. Mm-hmm. Can you be? And we all have it in our lives in a way, right? Where I always say this, like, God reveals himself to you, whether you like it or not, right? And can you be introduced to God? Can God reveal himself to you and you still be doing the same stuff? And can you honestly ask yourself those questions if you're doing the things and still be like, but I'm still gonna kill people on the weekend. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's really what I think it's like, something we've never seen before. And I think, it's definitely important because it shows a different way of being. And I wrote it for people like my cousin. I wrote it for people like, my people in my life that I'm Jamaican descent. My dad's Jamaican. And so, family members and people from my diaspora that, still feel like they have to do the same thing and get the same result. It's like, what if we do something different? What if we tried ways of being? What if we try, and having to really face those things and analyze those things and look at those things and heal from those things. And you heal from that,
All right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds really, really, I love the concept. It's it sounds like it's going to be really, really interesting, really, really good. So I'm hoping that we get to see it.
I will. Me too.
Yeah. One last thing I want to touch on is you're engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. How did you and your fiance meet, and how did the proposal happen? All that stuff.
Shout out to my brother, Adrian Walters, who's also another phenomenal actor, because Kiana Madera is my fiance, and she, you know, if you've looked her up at all, she's, you know, a phenomenal actress. She did, she's the lead of these 3 films that just came out this summer called Fear Street. Did amazing. And yeah, so we've known each other now for the last almost 5 years. We've been together for nearly 5 years. But we know each other like this October, I guess it would be like our talk anniversary, because we've been talking. I known her since February of 2015. No, 2014, 2014, 2015. It's 2015, damn it. 2015 might be
So funny.
February 8th, whatever day, whatever year. But when the NBA had the All-Star weekend here in Toronto, and you know, it was it was 2016. I'm not tripping out. It's 2016. But it's just time has gone by so fast.
Yeah.
That I'm like, it's really been almost 5 years. You know what I mean? It's trippy. So, I proposed to her last year, right before the pandemic in January, and we didn't anticipate that it was going to happen, right? Or anything, like locking down, and we wouldn't be able to actually get married the way we wanted to for 2 years. But I've always had in my mind like a very beautiful, extravagant, detailed wedding, and so us getting together, we've talked about the things we want to do and the things we want to have in terms of our wedding. And now we're getting to a point where we might just get married in Ontario and have all our families just come here. You know what I mean? Because damn. But yeah, we met, we bonded over acting. We bonded over our love of the craft. She met my friends, and my friends, automatically fell in love with her the way I did. And it was just like, my boy, Adrian, he was there at our place in New York at the time. And my grandmother was like, you make sure that if you're going to propose to Kiana that you record it, because I want to see, the video and how you proposing to her. And I was like, I'll honor that for you. Even though like, I feel like it needs to be a private moment, I'll have something on video for you. So I set up my phone, I set up my laptop, and I was going to record this thing. I put some these flowers around the house, and she was just coming back from Portland. So she was just coming to New York and to see the space for the first time. And so I set up everything so that where it would be streamlined. When she comes in, she has to walk through the bedroom and go to the guest room and balcony and all that stuff and come out into the living room. So I'm setting everything up still, making sure everything's nice and perfect. There was a furniture box that we had that I kept so I can be in the box, right? I'm setting everything up. All I hear is a weird like knock sound at the door. She didn't knock or anything like that, but I heard something at the door that made me go, is she here? She got off the plane and she told me that she was coming, but I was like, let me get the Uber for you. She's like, nah, I'm gonna get it myself. So now I don't know when she's gonna be arriving. She said 20 minutes. I'm like, that could be it's New York, right? New York traffic.
Yeah.
So I go look out the peephole and I see her actually coming out of the elevator with her stuff. And it was the weirdest phenomenon because she had not come out the elevator yet. So I don't know what sound I heard at the door, but it was like God alerting me that, oh, she's here, you better get in the box. So I ran, jumped in the box and closed it, but I forgot to record on my phone and on my laptop.
No.
So she comes, she's looking around, I can hear them. I was playing music at the time, thank God. So it was the music that I wanted on the playlist that I wanted and everything. She's walking through the house. She's like, what's going on here? I can see her reactions. And I'm shaking in this box, being like, oh, like, I don't know, like what those. And she comes and I put open me on the box and she opens the box and there I am. I come out and say, will you marry me, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, what the hell? And she's like, of course. And, and we're hugging and it's very romantic and nice. In my mind, I'm like, I didn't record any of this. but it's still fine because, it's naturally going to happen and it's great.
Yeah.
I forgot Adrian was there the whole time. And my boy hid in the bathroom and recorded.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, you got like, it was
Oh my God.
like such a nice relief because I was able to send that right off to my grandmother and show her what it was. And we watch it back and make jokes and laugh about it and stuff like that. It was a very great experience.
That's
Thank God she
sweet.
said,
Yeah, that would have been really awkward if not. But
extremely awkward,
that's so cute. That's so creative. And I like that it was just, it was intimate, the three of you, but like, really the two of you. That's so cute. And it was funny earlier when you were trying to remember like the time frame. I'm married, and so like I don't even trying to remember when I met my husband. I don't know. Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you want to honor and celebrate all those dates, but then all those dates become a lot. It's like first time we went on our first date, when we go on first date, when we first meet, when we first realized we liked each other. All these dates have a time, and he's like, you know what? When do we get married? How about that? When's our marriage anniversary? Okay, we can lock that one in.
Yeah, everything just strings together at some point. It's just
congratulations on your marriage, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, we got married over the pandemic, actually, and I relate to what you were saying about not being able to, we had this idea, we were looking at venues and everything, had everything set, and then we just wound up getting married in my parents' backyard here in Georgia. So.
But that must be nice too. That's Georgia.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, they have beautiful trees and stuff. There's like a creek, like lake thing behind their house. So it's very cute. It was nice, but it's not what you envisioned, but it's still, it's still nice. So I'm sure y'all will have a beautiful wedding, even though, it may not be the idea that you originally had. That's not gonna matter. It'll be nice.
I'm fighting for it. Ken was like, well, maybe we could just get married in Ontario. I was like, we're locking on somewhere else. And Ontario is very much like the back, like second, third, way down the line option. Can't get, I'm spoiled. Like I did not come all this way to get married in the way I did not envision when I was a child. Okay, like we're gonna do something that I envisioned, at least one thing. So we're gonna see. But I don't know if you've seen Ontario venues. It's not like a lot of like barn themed plaid shirts kind of theme weddings going on. And I'm like, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
And I was at my parents' wedding because they got married when I was 6. And I think we did it in a church, something like that. But I remember like the after party reception hall was literally like, the party room in a condo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of them joints, you know what I mean? So I'm like, listen, wait, we made some money. We're hooping in the acting department. Like we got to like do something to like celebrate in a new way and start something new in our family. So
yeah,
I'm gonna do. We're gonna see, God willing.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure. Look, if you have an idea in your head, you hopefully only do it one time. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying to Kim. I'm like, you only get one.
Yeah.
You only get one, ideally. So let's make the most of it. We only do this once.
Exactly.
But I really hear like I envision that a Georgia wedding would be phenomenal. So I know, like, no matter what, I know whatever vision you had in your mind, you get the 20 years, you get to renew your vows. So maybe you want to do something then that commemorates it. But I know that you had a fantastic time at the one in Georgia.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. And by the way, thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure you're gonna have a beautiful wedding. I can't wait to see pictures. I'm sure they'll be all on social media, so I'll be on the lookout for that. But thank you so much for doing this, for taking the time out. Is there anything that you would like to share? Anything you would like to plug?
Yeah. Like I said, shout out to my boys, BDB, Big Dreamers Brotherhood Productions. shout out to The Porter that's coming out very soon, probably either this year or the next year. A wonderful Canadian television show. It's going to be monumental in what it portrays, what it does. It talks about the Porters in the 20s, and all Black, all beautiful, all amazing, very talented artists. Amel Amin, Ronnie Rowe Jr., my boy Adrian Walters, Olanike. Shout out to y'all. What else? I can talk about this. I'm gonna just say shout out to brother. That's it. I'm gonna say shout out to brother, and yeah, that's it.
What does that mean?
You gonna find out.
Okay, all right, man. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Time Out, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to follow us at Swagger RS on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.